costume change?
No, he's fine.
Let me show you.
Wardrobe. Look.
Let me show you what he's doing.
No.
This is not.
Wait.
Are you doing the lights?
Ring light.
You're exposing me.
What are you doing?
I'm done.
This is not gonna work.
That's props. I like that. I like that. Lighting matters.
Lighting
Hey,
matters.
I have a question.
I love it.
Is that the famous Benihana's?
No.
No, they have in the backyard.
Huh?
No, we're not doing all of that. Idris, when you guys come to LA, we will make sure that we do this the right way. We got to get you out of London. Okay, I was setting up my light because the dark skin community, well,
Do you want to go outside?
you wouldn't understand.
Do you want to go outside in the sun?
No, I'm all right. I was trying to work on my lighting and it didn't come. You exposed
Your
me.
lighting looks great.
I
The only
think-
thing
I
is
think
your
you look
framing, because we can see a quarter of your face. Get in there a little bit.
Get in there
Okay.
for it.
Get ya.
That's how
There's
you know
some
they're
great
both in the
lighting.
film industry.
Oh, that's
they're like
good.
this.
How about that
they're
lighting
like,
right there? How about that lighting? Yeah.
that was A1 light.
What did you open the curtain? What happened?
No, don't do you. We'll tell you about it later.
This is little man cave.
It's magic.
How about you guys?
Thank you guys. First of all, we're so excited to see you both, just genuinely because we love you both. But thank you for coming on. We opened up this platform to be able to talk to couples that we think inspire other couples and who really do right by each other. And to me, you guys are the epitome of that. I mean, I met you in Atlanta, and you know how much I fell in love with Sam. I mean, I feel like that's my little boo-boo. So you can have her sometimes, but she's mine. So we definitely want to use this opportunity to kind of dissect you both and see what you're about and how it is what makes you guys the way you are.
Well, first of all, me and Idris, embarrassingly so, you guys met after me and Idris connected, and y'all talk and work out and communicate on text chains every day.
Yeah.
Idris is the mystery man. I don't know what's going on. You online hosting acting classes.
This is not the time to talk about your relationship problems.
Well, I just want to make sure that before we get into our relationship that I address the dark-skinned fellow over here to say, yo, what's going on, bro? How do we get our wives together and they doing better than us? Like, this is ridiculous.
Man.
No, you know what? Hands up, hands up. I'm a shit friend. I am not communicative. I have I have issues I need to deal with and stay in constant communication with people I love.
Yeah.
So I hold my hand up, Tyrese. You're not wrong. I will do better. How about that?
I love you. Hey, but
That's
this
fair.
is a good start. I forgive you.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. And just so the world know, we got like 17 songs unreleased, and they'll probably be released in 2025. So,
Tell no lie.
Can I talk? Let's talk about that real quick, because Tyrese and I essentially known each other, of each other, and each other for years, right? But not closely.
Yeah.
And in a very short space of time, even though I am a shit friend, I believe Tyrese is someone that will be in my life for the rest of my life.
Definitely.
And the mechanics of that, right? Really, Tyrese, we dived into a lot of real big man talk quick.
Yes, sir.
We cut through a lot of red tape.
Wasted no time.
Quick. Do you think that's like a real key in terms of friendship and how people partnerships, couples relate to each other? Do you think cutting through the red tape quickly or taking your time to get to know people is better?
Well, the thing is, I think our approach was, we both from the streets, right? So we don't kind of do the dancing and the Hollywood thing. We are employed by Hollywood, but we're not of the Hollywood cloth, right? So when you from the streets and you from the ghetto, you don't do the small talk, woo wop, beep wop, and you're also not gullible enough to think or believe what you may have heard from others. So we came into this thing and our approach was very bow. Who are you and who am I? And
face value.
we think about each other And contrary to whatever smoke and whatever David Copperfield magician smoke that's out there, boom. And I think that to me is always the start of a great foundation, because it for one speaks to our upbringing, and it says, you know, even if someone's from a different hood and you may have heard this about that person from that hood or that neighborhood, you're establishing your friendship based on how you feel about that person, period. And I think Samantha and your wife did the same thing, because it's not expected of them to say, I like you, because my husband and your husband linked up and they get along, so we're supposed to get along. They established their friendship and relationship naturally and organically, and me and you created the platform for them to do that, and they're doing better than us.
No, let's talk about that, Sabrina, because I'm interested. You know, female duos, partnerships tend to have a slightly different dynamic from male partnerships, especially two new female friends, right?
Yes, sir.
You know, I always find in my experience that female new friends are quite rare. You don't all, you know, you've got your girlfriends for years. Samuel's got a girlfriend for years. How was that for the two of you guys?
You know, I think it kind of speaks to what they said, because we saw how organic and real your relationship was. I honestly think that kind of gave us a little platform to be like, hey, you know what? They're being real. I feel like I can be real with you. I trust my husband's judgment. You trust your husband's judgment. Right. And I think to be honest, I relate to Sam a little bit. I feel like we have kind of a similar life path in a way, and you know, we share similar aspirations, and we check in with God. I check in with Allah, and we just vibe like that naturally. But Idris is right. It doesn't happen often. I haven't made a new friend like Sam in I don't even know how long. So.
Right. And I think when I met Sabrina, I was very frank with her, because I felt like me and Tyrese, we got married, and a lot of women in the industry weren't, I guess, as genuine. Let me just say that. And I don't know how not to be genuine. That's kind of a flaw that I have, but I am who I am, and I'm in no setting you're going to see me and I'm not me. And I feel like I met the same thing with Sabrina is the same thing with me. No matter where I speak to Sabrina, whether she's on IG Live, whether she's talking to me on a Zoom call, whether we're talking on the phone, you are always you. And you're always beautifully you. And I love that about you. And because I felt like you were so genuine, we're both new in this, and we're both dealing with husbands that are known and have influence and successful. You know, there's a certain bond that I wish our community was a little bit stronger, because a lot of us kind of like stay in our own little world, and you know, I wish it was stronger, but you know, we were able.
Well, you know, the thing is, and Idris could definitely back me on this. Unfortunately, where we have found ourselves clamming up and being introverts or isolated or not as open to brand new friendships and relationships is because we have a lot at stake.
Yeah. I think
when crabs in the barrels or bad people reveal themselves, it normally comes with a lot of repercussions that play out privately and publicly. And so through these experiences, you find yourself saying, well, you know what? Even though I am open to brand new people, just as a general, my experiences has caused me to clam up. And you know, when I seen you guys link up, I said I may not go and get pedicures and manicures done with Idris, but
no. I could show you my feet right now, and you would know that there's none of that going on.
I may not go and get my eyelashes done with the big homie, but in my mind, I think we have kind of built, I think it's our alpha. We have figured out a way to survive and not necessarily have cliques and entourages of a lot of people. But I think what is important, what I want to make you aware of, you know, as the first lady, I want to make you aware, my motivation became, it's really hard to have a conversation as a woman with other women who literally can't relate to your life.
That's true.
It's really, really hard, even if you find yourself complaining about the small or medium or gigantic things, when you're talking to a woman and she's literally has nothing to do with the life or lifestyle, how often you travel, movie sets, the pressure, the backlash, the this and that. I think it's important to me to build out a community of women that can pull from each other, that are specifically living the life and lifestyle that you're living. And it's okay to still be a part of women who are not married to whatever that might be, but there are certain conversations and pressures that only you guys can relate to. So when I've seen, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say that I think that the very foundation of what you're talking about is relatable no matter what your career is. The very foundation of what you're talking about. So if you and I were both accountants and Sabrina and Sam were both, you know, office managers of different law firms, you know, you and I kicking it, the politics around how they get together as two women in, you know, their respective is the same politics. It's about the connection, right? It's about how you guys relate to each other, regardless that we're in the film industry. But I think that is relatable. And that's actually something, the only reason I'm pointing it out is because coupledom, you know, this isn't about, you know, the entertainment industry per se, although it is the one that we can relate to the most. But I'm always eager to underline that any, you know, thing that Sabrina and I talk about, even though it may not be relatable to most people based on what we do for a living, it is the same set of rules, you know, mechanics that everyone has to deal with. And I think that, you know, Sam and Sabrina getting together was based on, hey, I'm going to be open with you. If you're open with me, let's kick it. You know, regardless of what we do.
Well, I agree with those basics, and 100%. But I will say specifically that when they talk, when they hang, when they communicate, they have the same exact vibrations because they are the significant other of, and the support system within that.
You should let Sam talk.
What he's saying though. But what he's saying though, because we have something in common.
Yes,
because it's whether you're in the film industry or whether you guys are accountants or you work for FedEx.
What that's what I was saying.
Oh, but what I'm saying.
Do that again. I'm late.
Why are you already?
But
you can hit me with the back. Go ahead.
He's extra.
But you know what I'm thinking? You know what I want to say though? I agree with that 100%. But I also think that it's more complicated than that because, you know, me and Sam have been in situations with women who also share that same type of lifestyle, but we haven't necessarily gotten along with. So I think, you know, it's more complicated, but it is a leap of faith. And it is like, hey, an icebreaker. We're in the same position. Let's talk about that. And whether you're willing to open up to someone, I mean, I feel like it is a vibration thing. You can kind of connect to people on this level before you even connect with them. Like, you
I agree with
out
that.
there. Yeah. So, but I want more about, like, I like
like
you guys turn this around on us because we're supposed to be talking about.
Oh, right. We're supposed to be
Listen,
interviewing us.
Well, here's the thing. I just wanted the world to be educated because everybody's Oprah Winfrey these days and doing interviews online. And I want folks to know that beyond us being on here as a couple, we actually have a history. We have a backstory. You guys are on Zoom fitness and workouts every day, and everything about this community of us four that's been built out has been built out on the foundation of we have the same vibrations. And you know, again, I agree. A lot of people in the industry don't clink up, don't link up, whatever that might be. And it felt very natural for me and Idris to connect. And in our minds, we was like, man, if we can get the wives to link up and connect, that would just be amazing. And we all flew on the flight together and talked about you, Sam. And then once that happened, me and Idris was like, we good. You know, it was beautiful, you know, because it's almost expected of the catty energy between women to stop the vibrations from proceeding. But once y'all linked up, we all at the house together, studio, food, energy, good conversations, laughter. It was beautiful.
Right. Agreed.
I want to ask you guys, Sam, your background is, correct me if I'm wrong, but I understand you're a psychologist, right?
Well, I'm a licensed social worker. So it's like,
psychology, I think.
I had to learn about mental health and medications and things like that, but I'm not a psychologist. But I did, you know, I know a lot about psychology. I can diagnose and prescribe.
I'm a psychologist.
When you guys connected,
ask me anything.
You know, I was paid my back out. When you guys connected, you know, what was that sort of dynamic? You know, Tyrese being, you know, very sort of vivacious personality.
I like that, vivacious
personality, and you being, you know, sort of not to say you're not grounded, but grounded in a very different set of social aspect, life, whatever. How was those conversations? I mean, of course there was beautiful romance, but how did you guys pair up on a level?
I think, well, I guess I'll go from when we first communicated, we did not, I'm going to be nice. We didn't link up like that. I didn't like his personality that way. He was very, Tyrese is an alpha. He's very like, you know, coming at you. And he asked me a few questions and, you know, and I was like, whoa, this guy's a jerk. Like, I don't like him. So I did not actually, I didn't actually meet up with him for 2 years. I did not see him for 2 years post that. And then we went on our first date because he kept hitting me up at night after 10 p.m. And I had a rule at the time where I won't meet up with guys after 10 p.m. because that's just what it was.
You never told me that rule.
Right. So when I told him the rule, so when I told you this interview is gonna be crazy. Okay, I already knew what this was gonna be. Okay. He was filming Fast 8, and so he was in Atlanta, and he was hitting me up, and I said to him, "Listen, I'm never gonna meet up with you after 10. Like, I'm never gonna meet up with you after 10. I'm not gonna meet you at the St. Regis. Like, I'm not gonna do it."
Why you gotta put my hotel out?
Well, you don't stay there anymore.
You're changing the names, obviously. I see that.
For a reason.
For the sake of,
So anywho.
Innocence.
So when we met, because I really didn't think that there was going to be a future between us, I was brutally honest. I was like very, very open. You know, I didn't hold anything back. And I kid you not, he was on his phone the whole time. And I felt like I was on an interview. Like, and it was like, are you going to impress me? And then at the end of it, like towards the middle of our date, because it was at Red Lobster. And during the middle of our date, it was like he like warmed up because I was just being so open, and my stories were so like, I was just telling stories, and he thought the stories were interesting. And so we would just, Sabrina, you've heard some of my stories. Like, it's just crazy stories. Yeah. And he would laugh at them, and he would share. And like by the end of it, you know, he at the end of the date, which I'm thinking like, okay, it's over. I have to go to my mom's birthday party at the time. He was like, "I think you're my wife." And I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Like, I didn't see that at all. But
That
he, at that time, was like, I think you're it. I think you're the one. And if I hit you up after 10, it's because of set things and set times. And I usually rap by a certain time at night. And so that's what we do. And I'm a recording artist, so I record at night, blah, blah, blah. He's like, I'd never try you. I'll never make you feel uncomfortable, things like that. So we ended up, you know, really from being so brutally honest with each other. We covered a lot of groundwork because I didn't hold anything back and he didn't hold anything back.
It was the honesty that really cut the tape.
Yeah, because what were you thinking in that moment that switch happened? Or was it a switch? Like, is your version of the story a bit different? Yeah, I'm wondering what Tyler...
My version is very different.
But I'm telling you.
Well, I ain't got no reason to lie to my brother.
There's always
like that. If he's like that, our stories are so...
I don't know if anyone's lying. There's just different perspectives in life.
That's true. You know, you're right. Absolutely.
So,
exactly.
I'll make it short and sweet. For one, we didn't just go to Red Lobster. We were supposed to go to a sushi spot. And once we walked in, I smelled the place and I was like, this ain't it.
You're like, no.
It was like, you know, I said, my exact words was, I feel like this is a swollen stomach on a plate waiting to happen.
Oh, man.
Do you remember what else you saw?
What else did I see?
Do you remember you saw a card?
I saw your sundress.
Hey.
That had nothing to do.
Hold on. Can I finish my story?
Listen, Red Date, by the way, nothing wrong with Red Lobster. You know, you don't need to justify that.
That's literally the last restaurant we went to in Atlanta.
Yep, I had the biscuits.
Well, no, I'm not saying anything is wrong with Red Lobster. I'm saying that wasn't like, let's go on our first lunch and go to Red Lobster. You know, we ended up there because we left the sushi spot that smelled wrong when we walked in. And then I said, let's go take a ride and see if we come across something. And I said, no disrespect, but I love Red Lobster. She like, I'm simple. I love Red Lobster. So we pulled over, and our first lunch was 4 hours.
It was.
Oh.
And I told her at the table, you're my wife. I know it. And you're going to have the rest of my kids. And I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. Like, I knew it. And I had to explain to her because her first reaction was, you must tell every girl this and blah, blah, blah. And in my own way at the time, because I'm so honest, it can piss people off. I said to her, look, in a very nice way, I'm going to explain to you that I have lived and I've gotten a whole lot out of my system for me to be there, for me to understand the difference and what's out here. And as Idris said, you're so humble, so grounded. Yeah. You know, you have this, you know, I said to her, you got this sweetness about you. And in my mind, I became very attracted to the idea that I was going to be with someone that literally has nothing to do with the life and lifestyle that I live.
Yes.
Because I'm not going home to the industry. I don't want to talk to you about what it is that I do and the life that I live every day, because if I wanted to marry industry, then I've had that opportunity, and that doesn't do it for me. If I don't come home and feel like I can have a conversation,
what?
I don't make you feel bad when you start talking.
No, she's not.
I didn't do anything.
Keep talking, bro.
Keep talking, bro. What's wrong with you today?
It's so funny.
This is just that
Yo, keep talking, man. I was just gonna say you don't want to marry. I was gonna say you don't want to marry into the industry, especially because when Sam sees me, she puts on this weird English accent thing, and it's not very good. I was gonna throw that out there because she wouldn't make it in the industry. She just wouldn't make it. My brother. What? He's that. Keep going, T. Keep going, T.
Oh man. But you know what? I feel okay. I want to know. So when you met Sam, were you in a position where you were looking for love? Like you were kind of like fed up. You were ready for that type of love, or
Yeah, I
and
mean,
Sam
listen,
like,
I said to Sam, you know, again, I had to wait on, and this is just me personally, I had to wait on the moment that I could be as raw and unfiltered as I am. And I had to say to her, it's crazy at this point in my life that I still feel lonely, even with this brand new thing and this brand new thing in my bed. So you start realizing that the pretty face, the body, and all of these kind of superficial things don't do anything for you after you've been living this life and lifestyle for a long time. And so, you know, another and another and another, that's whatever. But it takes a man to get to that place where you're looking for something that means more and is more than what it is on the surface.
Mm.
So my wife, single-handedly for me, there was an answered prayer where I said, God, send me the answer. Send me my out. I need to get out. I need out of this thing. I'm done with the chase. I'm done with these empty things that don't mean anything. And she checked off every box for me. And in order for me to know that she checked off every box, I first had to be exposed to all of these empty boxes to know that she had everything to take me out the game.
Let me ask you this, changing up real quick. Would you two make good business partners?
No.
No, I don't think.
Really?
why not?
Why?
I don't want to do business with Sam. I'm not interested because
I know, but would you characteristically be able to run a business together?
Well, here's what I would answer that. I think recently we've had, because of certain things that have happened, we've had to become that. We've had to become good business partners, which at that point will make us good teammates in anything that we decide to do. But I think that because we still want an aspect of our marriage to just be about our marriage and not to make it about business or about what we're trying to do together. We want to keep it like we're still each other's escape. And we still want to be each other's escape. And we don't want to make it into it all being about business and what we're doing together. And because we've tried that, you know, but I think when it becomes, the conversations becomes about what we're doing and how we're going to promote this and how we're going to do that and how we're going to do that, it takes away from where we started, which was he was my escape and I was his.
Yeah,
but you guys,
I want to re-emphasize that by saying, when I said no, and I said no definitively, I was really just speaking to, I just want to protect the foundation of what we have. And I think if my wife started getting emails and we're being CC'd on deal terms and negotiating, and we're having to have conversations that have nothing to do with the foundation of our marriage, I feel like I'm now married to the industry, which my wife has helped me to escape from. So, you know, what are you promoting? What are you doing? Who's disrespecting you? Who's trying to pull a fast one on you in industry, whatever that might be. And so my wife has been encouraged to do things via social media in the capacity of she's got something with Real Talk Kim that speaks to her love language. My wife is in love with Jesus. And if you can pull people out of depressions and marital issues and struggles and have them to discover Jesus, that ain't got nothing to do with the industry. That speaks to who my wife is. She ain't get paid from it. There is no deal to be negotiated. It doesn't feel like she's trying to milk my celebrity from speaking to her love of Christ.
But listen, just before you go on, just to be objective about it, do you think the two of you bear the chemistry to get shit done as a couple?
Yeah.
Oh, that's all that's what we do.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like just being at your house and seeing how your household is run.
Yeah.
I see that teamwork between you both.
And listen, not to dilute what you're saying, it's very important, but you know, just in the spirit of why we love to look at couples and talk to couples, because we want to understand what that nitty-gritty is. I don't expect that you guys should do business. You've told me that personally, that you have each other's escape routes, and that's what you want to maintain. With Sabrina and I, we work together a lot, and we also find that interesting escape route. Yeah, kinda. You know, we love each other, and there's no version of her, you know, jumping on my bandwagon or me jumping on hers, but we love that side of our brains when that chemistry is right. It is tougher, and yes, sometimes it does, you know, it does sort of not dilute, it does, you know, grind against, you know, us being able to just have a romantic evening and not talk about emails.
Yeah.
But we find that quite satisfying in an interesting way. And I think that,
well,
you know,
my thing is we have enough things to work out. We have enough things to argue about. We got enough pressures in life that we are trying to work through, and we don't need to sit across and have a lunch or a dinner to turn into a conversation about deal terms.
I think I want to say, I love what you guys are doing with couples, because I think so many couples at this time, especially during quarantine when we're stuck together and we have to be at home, when domestic violence is on the rise and couples are breaking up, divorce rates are up, it's very important to talk about what makes each other work and how we're keeping each other during this time frame. What me and him have done is made it a competition about loving each other the best way we know how, on the grandest scale. We focus our energy into love and going all out for each other, and that helps us to stay away from the stuff that may cause arguments or frustrations and things like that. And I think that's important for every couple, whether you're a friend or not, is focusing on, like me and Sabrina, we bond on certain things. Right now we're trying to get our bodies together. We're trying to eat right and work out. So on the commonalities, and me and him, over time, we've learned throughout our 4 years of being together and married, is like, let's be intentional
about peace,
about loving each other, and focusing our energies on how to love each other better versus what the person is or is not doing.
Yeah,
you know, things like that.
That's really good.
Yeah, and I wanna talk about and flesh that out a little bit, because I've been a fan of the date night thing that you guys are doing now. Like, I mean, I'm watching like, like, what are you gonna do?
The what now?
Pressure, but
what's the date night thing? All I know is
what? You talking about me?
But what I'm seeing as a friend, but a fan of it too, is this beautiful display for each other. Like, it's just like you're kind of putting your heart out every Friday night. I think you guys do it, and I think it's beautiful. And did that stem from something that you guys needed to work out, or was it just naturally both your personalities to be that giving?
Well, I feel like I want to explain a little piece of that, because date night is, again, going back to what my wife was saying a second ago, intentional about peace, intentional about good vibrations, intentional about the algorithm of what is love. And we also are working really hard at becoming professional forgivers. Right? Like, we want to say, I forgive you. Like, I have never in my life met a woman who goes above and beyond to apologize the way my wife does.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Because it's always the man's fault, some way, somehow. And that's just what it is. So the text messages that my wife will send, or how far she goes to apologize if and when she realized that she could have said something or did something or went about something better. I've never seen it, because for whatever reason, the DNA of the woman says pride and ego, and it's not going to be my fault ever, and I'm going to put that off onto you. So with that being said, the date night concept in itself was not invented by me. We give people probably 30, 35 minutes of a sneak peek of what we do every Friday. And the goal became for me was, if you're doing Bible studies online and trying to pull people up in these trying times, the fact that you're able to say, wow, I like date night, and you looked at your husband, in my mind, whatever version of date night, whether it's Friday or any day of the week, if I was able to inspire someone to say, we already dealing with Corona. We already dealing with being out of work and can't travel and can't go nowhere. We already dealing with the stress and pressures of kids and baby mama this and whatever that might be for us or you. We might as well say fuck everything and everybody and whatever is going on in the world, and again become intentional about pouring into you and you pouring into me. If we got one day, let's put our phones down. Let me not be in your presence, but be fully present, which is a totally different thing. I'm in your presence because I'm married to you, curly head, sexy, whatever. But let me look you in your eyes. Let me talk to you. Let's talk and we have a list of 15 questions. And these 15 questions won't cause an argument. We give people a sneak peek into date night, 20, 30 minutes. I mean, the tablecloth is a bed sheet. Nothing sexy. The flowers that we got came from the grocery store in the flower section. Nothing sexy, right? But it's about the intention. So if I can be intentional about my acting career, if I can be intentional about singing or rapping, if I can be intentional about creating and writing scripts, I can be intentional about giving my wife this uninterrupted energy that is date night. So when I speak to the amount of time that's on social media, that happens around 7:30. Me and my wife don't get off the roof or end our date night till 3:30 a.m. So that little peak is to say, hey, everybody, become intentional about your girlfriend, boyfriend, fiance, or wife. And that's it.
Do you
trying to inspire?
Can you relate to some people having the restrictions that don't allow for date night to happen in the same way? Is that an excuse, or do you think it don't matter if you have no money, or you guys have 10 kids, or you have a 1-bedroom flat, or does it matter? Do you think the intention can still remain the same? And does it apply to business partners and siblings as well?
Okay, so the short and sweet answer is yes. I have said our marriages are under attack.
They are.
Our families are under attack. No one on this conference right now that's listening or a part of it could say we ever seen Corona coming. Which means that if none of us had the heads up that it was coming, none of us have the tools or was prepared for what it takes to maintain a friendship or relationship through any of this shit that's going on. So in the midst of this unexpected thing, let me be intentional about saying, I love you before Corona. I love you during Corona. And I pray and I hope with every fiber of the Lord Jesus Christ that we are able to protect what we have during and after Corona. So I don't care if you sleeping in a garage. I don't care if you are living with your wife and family in a homeless shelter. There is a way to become intentional about peace and keeping the butterflies in your wife's stomach. Period. So this has nothing to do with your bank account, because contrary to everyone's belief, whatever I may have in my account, date night is actually the cheapest, most inexpensive thing that I do per week.
We spend less than $100 per week on dates.
Boom.
Just want to let you guys, if you talk about numbers,
So we're clear.
we spend less than $100 on date night every week.
Okay?
The flowers. He's proud of that shit too.
Oh, it's
look at your face.
Because
Damn,
the value in what we're doing is beyond, like,
monetary
bro.
value.
Every restaurant that I've ever taken my wife to, including Red Lobster, is more expensive than date night.
100%.
What we doing?
Totally.
100%.
I think it's beautiful that you said that, because I definitely like giving somebody that you care about the intention, just showing them. And it's so important at this time to just, even when it comes to your friends, people you used to work with, just to pick up the phone and show that intention that you care, and that you're making an effort to check in with them mentally. I mean, that is so important. And I think people forget that right now. Like they say domestic abuse is on the rise, and I think people are forgetting to check in with each other and be like, hey, is my girl okay? I haven't heard from her in a couple of days. And it comes from that intention. So I think for sharing that, that's beautiful. And I'm getting excited now, because it's like a better than a Netflix show. I'm like, what's happening next week?
And thank you for making brothers look bad. I appreciate you. You know,
go ahead and say it. Go ahead. Here's the thing. Idris,
I had to hold a straight face through that beautiful speech. I appreciate you for that. Now I'm gonna have to go out and get some flowers.
Let's go, baby.
Look, I do think everybody, I really believe in love languages. Me and Sam have talked about that before, and we each have our own love languages. And I think we're together because you feed into mine and I feed into your love language. And
this is true. This is true.
So but whatever it means for whoever, you're applying this to, it doesn't have to be date night. It could just be like, maybe you cook them it could be anything.
I think
exactly. Like one of the first things that he did for me, and I think that kind of like spurred the idea, was a lot of things are being put on me as a mom and as a wife. And I was like, listen, I'm spent. I'm gonna go. I'm this close to snapping. Like I need you to, and it's about communication too. Like, hey, listen, check in. I need help. Like I'm struggling here. There's a lot that's falling on my lap. I'm stressed out. I'm doing everything that I can possibly do to make sure everything here runs smoothly and you don't have a lot on you, because that's what I tried to do in my marriage is, I really tried to speak his love language. But what I've realized during this time, is just a little thing. Like one night he was like, okay, I'm going to put the kids to bed. You ain't got to put the kids to bed. You go upstairs, watch your favorite TV show. Here's your red wine. I'm leaving you alone.
And I told her she could not come out of the room till 2 p.m. the next day.
Exactly. And I was able to sleep that night and sleep in. And that didn't cost him anything, just time and being intentional about seeing that I'm exhausted. Like I'm spent. I need help. And he being who he is like, okay, I want to take that off of you. And then he started doing, Tyrese is a creative, like at the core of his being, he loves to create. He loves to design. So he started putting his energy into making something special for me. And then I, in turn, learned about him is that there were certain love languages I thought were his. Like, I thought, okay, for sure, these two are his love languages. So I tried really hard to speak those love languages. But then I find out he had the real one, his love language is acts of service. So like last week, I went all out to love him and go out of my way to create an experience for him. So it's not only on
the man.
It's not only on the man.
But I think also what you said about communication. That's because we hold so much expectations of the people that we're with. And if you don't ever express those expectations, you're just kind of making them live up to a standard. They don't even know that they're living up to it.
Girl, yes.
So
That's true.
Well,
That's
you know,
actually word.
the thing is, again, going back to Sam and her levels that she go to with the apologies.
It's not only because I'm apologizing.
No, it is. I love that about you. That's like one of my favorite
Date night because I
qualities.
was apologizing.
Technically, you did.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Tyrese Appreciation Day was me apologizing.
She created a
Date
holiday.
Wait a second.
I created a holiday.
Appreciation Day?
Yeah, with the king thing, right?
Yes, all day. I served him all day.
That's
Anything
amazing.
he wanted at
What does that feel like? Huh?
Yeah!
Thanks, Sam. And I was like, yeah, that was great.
What?
Yeah, that's right.
Every
That's
day,
right.
every day is just
Every day is
Well-
Idris Appreciation Day.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I wanna, because my wife says certain things, and I want to make sure I become very specific. She spoke to me noticing that.
Well, I communicated and you.
Well, you gave a little piece, and then I took it to the level that I took it to. My wife gets to this place where, like most women, they take on everything.
Yeah.
And we, as men, take on everything. That's why men have levels of mental health issues that we do, because we take on so much. And a lot of us don't communicate. A lot of us don't do what me and Idris are doing right now, which is being able to express our thoughts and feelings. So that's a part of the reason why it all stays bottled up. Right. But I noticed with the naked eye, she's tired, she's exhausted, she's fatigued. She has been hour on the hour, not just mom, but stepmom to my 12-year-old. It's just this around the clock thing. And then I've been in my headspace trying to figure out, what is this corona shit? What happens? What is our life? Blah, blah, blah. And all that us as men are dealing with, especially if we're the alphas that's in the field, constantly working and hunting. What the hell does this mean for our bills to be paid and blah, 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 all the things that we think about. So I said, it's over. I got the kids. I know what I did is I went in my phone after the years of us being together. In my phone, I have Samantha's favorite things.
Yeah.
I have a list of about 35 things that I would never remember, but I know. Like if she said, baby, while you're out, can you grab Chick-fil-A? She don't gotta call me and say what she's ordering at Chick-fil-A, because I just go to my list of favorite things.
That's cute.
I have her detailed order that she always ordered from Chick-fil-A, and I'm gonna bring it back. So
that's smart.
I knew she needed sleep. I knew that she needed me to hold things down with the kids. I knew everything all across the board. So I put the remote in her hand. I went to her favorite TV show. I had her wine. And I just needed her to sit there and just be. And I even slept in another room so that she didn't even feel my energy for the night at all.
Right.
And that was a moment for her to hit the reset button. And it took me to notice that she was fatigued and tired. And that became her escape. So I milked the shit out of that for like 3 weeks. But that one moment,
that one night,
recharged her battery.
Yeah.
And gave her a moment to recharge.
Right. And that didn't cost him anything, you know?
That was free.
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about taking some questions from some?
They're piling up.
You know.
I know they are.
There's people that want to talk to you guys. How do you feel about that?
Oh, we don't mind.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we loved it.
I'm not gonna pick any crazy questions, but
questions.
He drinks some coffee. He's ready.
What? People ask all kinds of crazy, weird things, don't they? Though.
There's a lot of questions.
No,
Do you want me to pick one?
I'm not even sure, but can I share it?
No.
Can I share it?
Can you what?
So this let me tell you what he did. Okay.
Oops. See, this is the every question, like 100 questions.
Oh, okay.
Crazy.
Paul Walker. Yeah, that's sad.
Sorry, I clicked it by accident, but that's like every question.
That's okay. That's our guy. That's our guy.
Oh my God, for sure.
Both
yeah,
you
no,
and
the
I made a
fourth
movie
thing-
independently with that man.
I'm trying to
That's
put
right.
it.
And I came to visit y'all set.
I remember.
Yeah.
Someone said, "Thank you so much. I'm learning."
What kind?
Hey, it was wild. When I
That's
came
good.
to visit you and Paul on set, you guys were shooting that scene at the airport that night.
What movie
And
is that
the
you were in?
conversation we had in the trailer, me and Paul, is why Fast Five happened.
Ready?
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. I didn't know that. Okay. So I found a question that said, what would you say is each of your love languages? Because I think people are like, okay, we're talking about it. What is the love language that we're talking about?
What I would say first before I answer this is that for every couple, it's very important for you to know each other's love language. Because you could be loving, like for me, I take care of, you know, a lot of the household responsibilities, and I'm trying to cut down on finances, making sure we're not spending a whole lot of money, like all that kind of stuff. But that doesn't speak to his love language, even though, you know, some people would be like, oh, she's trying to save you money. That's great. But for him, it's like, you know, but he likes certain things, and it's very important to know each other's love language. That's just period.
And maybe you could explain a little bit what it is, because I feel like not everybody knows what it is.
Sure.
You explained it
So,
well.
Right. So his love, he's got like.
Explain the 5 love languages.
Okay.
It's more than
Break
5.
it down.
There's
Explain
5
Five?
love languages.
I feel like
No,
there's
five.
more. There's really more. But
It's 5.
You complex, bro. 5
He's
love
complex.
No,
languages?
she's talking about the fight in general. You
There's
know,
5
you
love
like,
languages. He's got 4. Okay.
he's got
He
4.
wants to say that
Why
there's
did
more
my guy-
because he needs to admit that there's only 5 and he's got 4.
All right,
Okay.
go on.
So anyway, it's acts of service, which means that you're doing something, you're just doing something to service the other person. So for example, if you're a mom and let's say your husband does the chores for you, the household chores, or washes the dishes, that's an act of service. So if that speaks to you, someone taking something off of your plate intentionally to love you, if that speaks to you, that's one of your love languages, acts of service. Words of affirmation. Words of affirmation is speaking life into your partner, loving your partner, complimenting your partner, doing things like that. That's words of affirmation. If someone affirming you makes you feel loved, then that's your love language. Then you have physical touch, which kind of goes without saying, but if you're touching somebody makes you feel loved, if you like to be touched, that's your love language. The 4th one is receiving gifts. And so if you like getting gifts, if that's your thing, then that will be your love language. If that really speaks to you, makes you feel like you're loved. What's the 5th one?
I don't know what the 5th one is.
Because your other ones matter to you.
Well, you've
It's
already.
act of service.
He
It's
knows.
physical
He
touch.
knows.
It's words of affirmation. Oh, it's quality time.
Oh,
Quality time is the last one. And quality time means present, uninterrupted time with somebody, like spending time with you feel love by spending time with someone.
That's my wife's love language, quality time. Well, she has acts of service and quality time are her 2 love.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. We have 1:46 left on this live. It's doing that thing. It's counting down.
Is it really?
Yeah, it's just
We can
it's
keep
off the
going,
screen.
but we
It's
just have
about
to
like more
reset.
than an hour.
I know.
Yeah.
So we'll come out and then we'll come back in if it cuts off.
Okay.
Okay.
This will be like your longest live, I'm sure.
That's okay. You
Yeah,
warned me
sure.
too. Sam was like, I don't know how you plan to do that. So
I want to ask a question. Sam, what is the biggest misconception about your partner, your husband, that you, if you could, very quickly, you got a minute, dispel? The biggest misconception about Tyrese.
That's a quick one, a minute to answer that.
He has a huge heart and he cares very deeply. And even though like he comes off aggressive, it's really out of love. All of it, everything that he does is centered on love. He's one of the biggest givers, one of the most loving individuals I've ever met. And he's a great friend. He's a very loyal and loving partner.
But I can see that.
That's what I would.
I feel like we both can see that. We can see that.
I think because you know him, but a lot of people are like, he's so aggressive and da-da-da. And it's like, it's not, you get past all that and you understand that it's all centered on
It all comes from love, yeah.
Right.
I can relate to that as a new friend. And, you know, we're both in the same industry, so you hear things about each other. And when I met T, I was like, wow, like I get what people say about you, but I understand that you're just a big old love bug. You just like
There's definitely a bromance.